Hello, Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enish, and you're watching Spotlight Georgetown. You can find us Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on your local cable station. And I've said this over and over and over again. We've been doing the show for years and years and years. Probably too many to count by now. They really have some great stuff up here. We have an entire television studio. If you want to come and learn how to run the cameras, if you would like to learn how to do the editing, they have, if you're into computers, this is the place to come. For any of the retirees that are looking for something to do, it's a great place to come and hang out. If you want to learn how to run any of the programs or the cameras or things like that, just either let the station know, let Janet Morrissey know, let me know, and we'll make sure that it happens. Okay? So today we're talking to DickMullen. Now, Dick's been on the show with us before, and we're going to talk about a couple of things today, but something a little bit different. Welcome back.
Hey, how you doing?
It's good to see you.
Hey, thanks for inviting me back.
Yeah.
Been a while, though.
It has.
And I was just saying, there was a whole different person here. It was cool. I said, whoa, who's that? So anyhow, sorry, I had to say
okay.
that. Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay.
How long have you lived in town? I know you've been in and out a little bit, but in general.
Well, no, let's see. Since '09.
Okay.
And so how many years is that? Seven years, roughly. And then
Georgetown High School math.
Yeah, and about '09. So I've been around Georgetown and doing things in Georgetown and thereabouts since then. Yeah.
Okay. Now you have family here in town.
Not in town, no.
Well,
no,
you have one.
Oh, my wife is here. I always thought we were talking about we. I figured we were doing the royal we us. But
your wife Lynn works here at the station. She's running one of the cameras today.
You can hardly see her. She's always behind cameras. So,
I know.
Yeah. So anyhow.
And she's a very interesting character, as I discovered again today.
Yeah, you know something. She is a character, isn't she? You know, people tell me that, and I say, yeah, I already know.
For anybody that watches the show on a regular basis, when we first start the show, if you see me giggling and stuff, that's usually because Lynn is either dancing or making me laugh or doing something just to make sure that I'm not the nice, yeah, here she goes. She's doing it again. She's rolling her eyes. So Lynn is quite often the reason that I'm so happy when I get on camera here. Crazy person that she is.
What you do to get back at her, sometime you make her sit in this chair. That's like a killer for her. Just remember that. Ooh.
Yeah, she's going, ooh, forget it. We got Janet in the chair once. That was pretty good, too. Yeah. She did a great job. Obviously, she did a great job.
Okay.
Now, education. What kind of education? You've done so many things.
I have done so many things. But the interesting part about this is, and it was funny, I was working with a group of doctors one time, a whole room full of doctors, and I was doing a program that I do. And they were all talking. And finally, some guy was giving me a hard time because he was disagreeing with one of my points. So there's about 30 of them. And he says, where'd you graduate from school? You weren't a Harvard or a Tufts. I said, no, actually, I never graduated from school. I was lucky to get out of high school. I just happened to know more than you. And of course, it really put him in his place. But no, I actually have an associate's degree from Northern Essex Community College.
Okay.
And I probably have 100 online courses. So I'm kind of like an
online junkie?
Online junkie, yeah. Because there's so many good things on there. And so I studied a lot of psychology. I've taken a lot of courses and workshops in psychology, brain chemistry, and things like that. So sometime when I'm competing with some medical people, they don't even ask me with my education. So I shouldn't even reach, but I don't care at this time. But anyhow, that's my education.
They just assume.
Yeah.
You're not from Georgetown. Where are you from originally? I know we're going to have a long history here. Where are you from originally?
My original history is born in a town right between, as I heard it one time described, between Nahant and Swampscott. Okay. Somebody said to a person that was in line at a bank in Florida, they said, where are you from? And he said, oh, I live between Nahant and Swampscott. So he didn't have to say the word Lynn, but because Lynn, the city of sin, you never come out the way you went in.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I was born in Lynn.
Okay.
And lived there probably until my 20s, and then I started to try other things. So, I'm kind of a world traveler.
And I know you lived in Florida for quite a while.
Lived in Florida, Sarasota area, really liked it. Stayed down there for a while. Probably for, I think, the longest stretch was like 5 years in a row. But then it became a trade-off between February here and August
there.
there. And you say, which is worse and which is best? And I think finally we just decided to come back here and learn to maybe live in the winter. I'm still not sure. I can't. The last winter was fine. The winter before that got me kind of paranoid.
I have a lot of friends down there. Most of my best friends are down there. But I
Uh-huh.
have one friend that was from Georgetown, and quite often she'll come up and stay with me for a couple of weeks in August, so she doesn't have to stay in Florida.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
much nicer up here
That's
than
the
it is
ideal
in
thing,
Florida.
be back and forth,
Yeah.
snowbirding it.
What got you into public speaking?
Well, that's an interesting question.
I knew
I got into you knew that, huh? How'd you find this out? Anyhow, I'll tell you that, because now I don't mind. I grew up with what we could call social anxiety disorder.
Okay.
Now that meant that what I could do anyhow, one-to-one or small groups, I was fine. And people would never, ever think that I was afraid to get up in front of people and talk. But I became really adept at avoiding situations where I'd have to do that, to the point where if I couldn't manipulate my way out of it, what I would end up doing is I just wouldn't show up, like if I had to get in front of people. And I think around the time I was in my early 30s, I one time got in front of a very prestigious group of 40 people with senators and people from Harvard University, and all I could do was go bop 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 bop, and I froze up. I couldn't see.
Yeah.
You lose your
I've
your
been
vision.
there.
Right. You know how it is then.
Oh, absolutely.
And everything. So at that point I said, all right, I got to get out of this. And then I started doing a number of things, and eventually I found Toastmasters and
Yep.
stayed in Toastmasters for quite a while. And really now I don't care whether I speak in front of 1,000 people and 10 people. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to share something I usually don't, and I don't know how many people in Georgetown would know this, but I was the same way. And in school, if I had to read a book report, I was sick that day.
Yep,
I almost never read. I remember reading one book report and having to leave the room. So anything else like that, never did it. And I moved to Georgetown as a junior in high school, and that was a tough school to break into as a junior in high school when everybody else came in from kindergarten on. So I was the loner. I always, until after Christmas, after New Year's, I sat alone in the cafeteria.
Oh, wow.
Until there was one nice young girl who actually still lives in town, Terry, that said, would you like to sit with me? But I was so shy, and I could speak to one-on-one or a couple,
Right. Yeah.
and I was fine. But groups, forget it. My dad became a Dale Carnegie, he took Dale Carnegie classes, then
wow.
he became an instructor.
Okay.
So he started working with me at home, and I took speech in high school, and I took speech in college, and I took speech in a couple of other types of schools. And all of a sudden, I'd just as soon speak in front of 4,000.
It doesn't
as
matter, right?
4.
Yeah.
It makes no difference.
I tell people that all the time. I say, a month from now, you won't care how many people you're in front of.
Right.
It'll just go like that.
Right. And Toastmasters, I did Toastmasters for a while, which was very good.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. So if anybody's not into public speaking, take a look and find a Toastmasters that's around.
Sure.
They do have them around here.
Right.
So, long aside,
Yes.
so you'd been doing public speaking for a while.
Yeah, for a long time. In fact, I think probably I got into this in the 90s somewhere. But I think right after around 04 is where I really got into it. And I was in Florida, and I was with some people who were a lot of retirees down there. So I
Yes.
met a lot of people who became my speech mentors.
Okay.
And they were like people from, the movies in LA and people like that. And they were giving me all these little secrets how you do things. And so I just started this program, which meant a little something to me. Laugh Yourself Healthy, which I think some people have been there.
Going
yeah.
to be the next question.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What is it?
And anyhow, but that's how I got into public speaking. One of the people there was I think he was a writer for some programs in situation comedies, they're well known, and Mary Tyler Moore type of thing. And he's
Yeah.
retired, and he said, just go out and speak. He said, don't worry about anything. And that's what I did. And I started Laugh Yourself Healthy in 2004. And since that time, I just stopped doing it about 3 months ago.
Okay.
I thought I'd been doing it too long. It's 12 years, something like that. So I said, I'm going to stop for a while. And
what was the premise of Laugh Yourself Healthy?
well, the premise is, and I think we can all attest to this, that stress is the foundation of most illness and disease. And if you can find ways to release stress, relieve it, or to change it, you can become healthier. And one of the things we found just by laughing and doing some research on brain chemistry. Actually, during that time, I became a certified hypnotherapist, so I could actually.
That's what you came on the last time
Right.
to talk about. Yeah.
And just so I could do that and get to know people and to understand brain chemistry. So that program took off, and I was thinking, I don't know, thousands of people, I don't know how many hundreds of times I've done it to different groups like doctors, Tufts, I don't know, to nursing homes. So all over the place, that's what I've done. And it's been a really good experience.
I work a lot with elders, and
Uh-huh.
I find that they're much more willing and much more eager to partake in things like that.
Oh, yeah.
They really understand, life is short, and all that kind of stress, especially when you're retired and your
Right.
families are grown, and you don't have the kids to worry about and all of those things. They're just much happier, and that's a big part of their health.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I learned so much from going into nursing homes and retirement communities, because those people will come up with some things that you never even thought you could think of.
Yes.
And I mean, it's the coolest thing, and I've learned more things from them. In fact, I was in Portland, Maine. I always remember this, and I had a big, I don't know, it was 150 elderly people in that community. And one guy way out in the back, he kept if I said anything, he'd raise his hand. Like if said anybody here does this, he'd raise his hand. So finally, I said, "Who's the oldest person here?" He raises his hand. At the time, he was 101 years old. He's sitting in a wheelchair. He's a tall guy, so he must have been really tall when he was younger. And so at the end of the show, I brought the microphone up. I says, "Now look, you're the oldest person here. I want you words of wisdom. What words of wisdom are you going to give?" And he says, "Me?" He says, "I just laugh at people all the time, and I take nobody seriously." And so that kind of went along with my Laugh Yourself Healthy program. So
including yourself sometimes.
Oh, yeah. No, I have to, I take myself serious.
Yeah.
It's so easy,
Yeah.
And,
But you do have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah. And I
Otherwise,
think, as you age, you get kind of much more comfortable with, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Who am I going to pretend to, and pretense and things like that.
So you're not doing that program anymore.
Well, I'm going to start a new one because I got a bunch of
You have
requests.
a new venture.
Well, I changed the program. I'm going to make it a little more, I want to update it a little bit. So I'm going to call it the new Laugh Yourself Healthy, Wealthy and Wise, because they all interrelate.
Ooh, I like the wealthy part.
Yeah, right. And, from stress,
Mm-hmm.
people who can handle stress or are not stressed seem to make more money. That's some of the research that I came across.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's they invite stress, or they love stress, or they do not get stressed. So they actually seem to become higher up in the money
Some
chain.
people thrive on small amounts of stress.
Mhm.
Not
And it's
life-threatening,
healthy, right?
but,
Yeah, it's good for you.
but small amounts. You're doing something else now. What is Robots Are Coming, Run?
Oh, the robots are coming. Run. That's
Okay.
a program I did just to get out of Laugh Yourself Healthy, because I'd have people call me up and I say, "I'm not going to do Laugh Yourself Healthy." "Oh, yeah, but we got an opening. Can you do this?" And so anyhow.
Robots are coming?
Yeah, and it's about technology, how things are changing, how they're affecting all of us. And in the next 10 years, researchers tell us that we will change the whole way we live.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, one of the researchers I interviewed from Silicon Valley told me that somebody born, he wrote his book in 2014. He said, somebody born in 2014 will have no desire to get a driver's license or own a car. So somebody who's 16 years from 2000,
Really?
that's 2030, because of the driverless cars. He said they will take over.
Driverless cars.
Driverless, yeah. Just you can see them. They're already
Automated
coming out.
cars.
It's like Uber now and Lyft.
Yep.
They have drivers. Eventually, those cars will be driverless, and that's the whole. Uber is involved in driverless cars. Google, Apple, Tesla. As you go on, all the people that are
It's going to be like the Jetsons.
kind of like the Jetsons, right? Yeah. But I think we'll adapt to it. And this is about robots coming into your life. We're going to have robots to be assist robots that will, people with disabilities could have somebody to help them up if they get balance problems.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they just put some in the, I think it's the Hyatts. They have robotic desk people now. So when you go up, there's a human-looking robot that you will tell your reservation to and show your
Ooh,
credit
that's
card.
kind of freaky.
Well, that's it. And I think the transition of this, and that's yeah, run, right. Which way do you run away or do you run towards? So that was my question. It's like run with a question mark.
It's funny. My dad was one of those still is. He's always taking courses. He was going to night school from the time I was a little kid and right through high school and college, and many years after that. And one of the things he did, he got into computers really early, and he was building robots to use
really?
in the sheet metal fabrication.
Oh,
in,
no kidding.
In the factory to take the
And when was this?
60s, 70s,
Oh, okay,
80s.
so he was an
to
early-
take the plans from one place to another. Oh yeah.
He was an
Yeah.
early adopter, as they call him in
He
Silicon
was.
Valley, yeah.
He was. But when you think about it now, even things like our phones, our telephones,
Right.
that used to be on the wall, then they were on the table, and then they were portable, and then they could fit in your pocket, and now your telephone's a computer.
Well, what they tell me from the Silicon Valley investors and the research people, they say that what will happen now, your automobile will become a rolling computer. So everything will be, and you'll wear your actual personal computer. In fact, like I got one here. Lynn got it for my birthday. You know what these are?
No.
They're cool.
It looks-
Fitbit.
I was just going to say, it looks like a Fitbit. Okay,
That's
it
what
is.
it is. But it makes you walk because it counts your steps.
It counts your steps,
Yeah.
and then it tells you how long you sleep.
And
you
also
can
you can
go into the
get more
computer
advanced
and-
ones, tell you your heart. And so what they're saying in the new computer people, what they're doing now is they're weaving them into clothing. So you can wear a jacket or a shirt. They will actually have a whole computer system where you'll be able to just, you'll be able to touch and just out here, and we'll have a little kind of hologram come up, and it'll explain what I'm talking about. And that's not too far off. They've had them for a long time.
It's like CSI and in all the television shows that they.
Yeah, you know how they touch the
Yeah.
screen? Well, this is, imagine just sitting here, and I can create a slide right in front of us,
Okay.
and it'll come from my clothes. So
Wow.
that's what they're working on now. So there's some exciting stuff.
I think my dad would be running too, and I think I'd be running away.
Right, yeah. And I'll tell you,
I'd prefer to deal with people than with.
I've
machines
never
or
I've never
computers.
done anything.
I'm more of a person.
A program. I've never done anything where it's turned into such fights and disagreements in the robots program, because people do respond just like you do. They resist. They'll call me a liar, and I'll say, no, this isn't. I'm not doing this. This is not my information. This is the researchers. They actually had a fight break out in one of them where two people were fighting over something. I had to stop it.
Wow.
So that's why I'm going to stop the robots because it's getting too dangerous.
Okay. For years, I kept my flip phone. I love my little flip
Right.
phone, but I had to get.
Resistance,
I had
right.
to get an iPhone because my flip phone wouldn't do Bluetooth to my new car,
Right. So they
so I
force
had no
you.
choice.
And so you're moved along with it, whether you like it or not, whether
Whether I
you
liked
resist
it
or
or
not,
not.
you're going to do it.
Right, and that's what we're
Right.
coming to.
Right. And that's what change has always been, and so that's the key.
Okay, I think we're going to move on to the Green Consortium.
All right. Anyhow, the Green Consortium is kind of a favorite thing. That's kind of started up a couple of years ago. I decided I wanted to actually create a profit business, and so I
That's a
started.
novel idea for self-employed people.
Yeah. I mean, I've said I haven't been making a lot of money, so I want to do something that makes money. And I said, and I was really having interest, because in my past, I also have some construction background and a lot of, commercial construction. So I wanted to get into green and find out about it and take the information that I knew from the 70s and 80s and 90s and kind of put it into something here in the 2000s. And so I started investigating, and so far what's happened, we now have a group called the GoGreen Consortium, which is probably a group of people of probably 30 people who actually refer each other.
Okay.
So I know somebody who will honestly come to your house and give you an evaluation of solar, a
Okay.
fair and honest evaluation. Also, somebody who could switch you from brown electricity to green electricity.
Okay, what's brown electricity and green
Well, brown is
electricity?
what most people use.
Okay.
They use, which comes from coal and oil and
Okay,
fossil fuels.
yes.
And
And green electricity would
green
be
is-
coming
comes
from wind or
wind,
solar.
solar,
Okay.
water, wave. So there's some things that are coming out. So it took me probably a year to learn, and I'm just getting to the point now where I'm actually seeing the profits in the future. But it did take me almost a year and a half to make the transition. So interesting stuff, and I've been doing a lot of it for the last year anyhow.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the solar energy.
Okay.
And solar energy is something that right now the companies, along with the federal government, are giving these wonderful free solar panels.
Free solar panels.
Free.
Everything's free.
Free.
Don't worry about it.
Not going to cost you anything.
Sign the contract.
Sign the contract. They're going to put it on your roof.
For 20 years.
What's the fine print?
Well, the fine print is this. And I don't want to say that the 20-year contract, which is a lease.
Yes.
They have two things, a lease or what they call a PPA, a power purchase agreement.
Right.
So they're in the same field. What they do is they take the money now there's a difference. See, we're in a municipal, so
Yes.
we have limited. But if you're in a national grid community,
Right.
what they do is they take the money that you could earn from national grid that sometimes can be $250 to $350 a month,
From your solar panels.
right, over a period of 10
Right.
years, and you actually get that. But when you go with a lease, that company takes all of that money. So they take all that money. And so now think of it.
So if you put the solar panels up yourself, you could, not in this community, but in others, you
Yeah.
could sell the power back to the city.
Right. Back to National Grid.
Or back to whomever.
It's not like selling, you get rewarded for actually producing. And
Okay.
it's between $250 and $350 roughly for a typical home.
But if you put the free ones up, you don't get to do that.
You don't get anything back. You
You
pay.
get nothing back.
No, you pay for your electric. Now, there are some people that's a benefit for. So I don't say don't disregard it. So what we do with the GoGreen Consortium, like someone will say to me, can you explain this to me? So I'll bring an engineer out with me who I work with. We'll go look at the house and we'll give them a good idea of what's the best way for them to go based on income, based on where they are. They're going to get rid of the house
Their
in 5
age,
years.
how long they're going to
Right.
live there. Yep.
Some people,
I've had that done.
Right. Some people are going to live for 20 years, They're going to stay, they will be here for life. Some things might be better for them than others, and based on money. And
I've also heard that in some of the contracts, you can't sell your house, and you can't change your house and do anything like that, because now that's part of the contract's part of your deed. You can't do
Right,
it without
because,
the solar company saying, yes, you're allowed to do this.
And here's the thing, that what they call it now in the solar business, they call it the solar gold rush.
Okay?
There's so many people coming into, like, I don't know, like if you live in a certain area, you'll have 6 or 8 people in a period of a month knock on your door to give you a solar survey. And once they get their foot in the door, they're trained salesmen. And what they want you to do is sign a 20-year lease. You've just met the guy for a couple of hours or the woman, and now they want you to sign the lease.
But they're going to give you free solar panels.
They're going to be free solar panels. You don't have to worry about nothing. Just sign here. And you never get a chance to look at that 30 or 40-page contract.
Right.
And there are some things in there that people should know. And so I tell people, first of all, get 3 people to come in, And like I do that a lot. I'll go out to houses.
3 bids.
Yeah,
Anything.
get 3 bids, and then learn as you go. And then like our group, what I'll do is I'll say, anybody I work with as a solar person, I say, I want you to give them fair. If you're not fair with the people and honest, and tell them actually what they're doing, then you can't be in our group.
Okay.
And so, like when I was out all day with one of the companies who's great, I love them. They're honest, and they don't do the leases, but they show you how to make money on solar.
Okay.
So
So some people can make money.
yes.
And a lot of people, they use solar panels for, if not necessarily their homes, they use it for their outside pool, to heat
Pools.
the pool or the jacuzzi or things like that as well.
Yeah, like this one company that I worked with yesterday, they do heat pumps and they solar assisted hot water and
Okay.
air conditioning with solar, all kinds of things.
So some of these things, I just put new lanterns out around my driveway. And they
LEDs.
LEDs.
Right.
They take in the sun every day and then they light up the driveway at night.
Well, see now
Same
what
thing.
you're doing is they say the very first thing in conservation is to change your lighting and turn switches off. You can actually save a whole bunch.
I actually had the energy saver from the state of Massachusetts come into my house.
Okay, and they give you an
And
evaluation.
they go
yeah.
through the house and they did extra insulation and different light bulbs and evaluation and things like that. But using these these solar powered lights in the driveway, it saves all that electricity.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's such and it's a relatively new technology. I mean, even it's been around for 10 or 15 years,
Yeah,
but people
about 10
still
years.
see it as new. And so that's going to be, everything will be LED. And one of the things we recommend to someone who's trying to thinking about going solar, start by once a month, buy an LED light. Take one light out, there's $6, and put a new LED light in the lamp.
LED ones are the squirrely ones?
No, they're not. Those ones have a little bit, they're not great.
Okay.
They're better than, the typical light bulb that we know
Right.
of.
So what's an LED bulb?
LED is just...
Like the LED flashlights?
Yeah, there's really nothing in there. All as it is a little kind of electronic chip, and it creates different kinds of lights. So you can have 3 or 4. The more light you have, the more colored light you have, the more expensive it is.
Okay.
But if you just come out with a typical light, like even in studios now, a lot of people go on LED lighting. And I don't know, are these lights LED? Yeah. So there's a lot of studios now because they don't feel the heat.
I hate to look at the lights because I
know,
know I'll
yeah.
be blinded for a while.
But
Woo!
there's different ones where you can look at them now,
Yeah.
and they don't do that blinding. So there's, but I mean that's money. So,
Okay.
So anyhow, that's what's happening.
So that's what's happening on that field.
Yeah, right.
Now you also have a show on cable television in Haverhill.
In Haverhill, yep, we do GoGreen, and it's based on all of this information. I have a different guest, through a couple of times a month I do that. So I've been able to learn. I learn more from my guests than anything. I bet you find that out, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is like a learning experience. I never.
8 years
I
of
would never
learning.
think of doing this, But so anyhow, that's what it's about. And so GoGreen on Haverhill, and I've just got invited to start a program in Beverly Community TV, and we're going to do a portion of a rendition of GoGreen over there too, because they really wanted it, and they're a really advanced GoGreen community.
Okay.
So
out of all of this myriad of experiences, what's been the most fun? Just plain old fun.
well, I think I will say that one of the things I miss, the fun I had is laugh yourself healthy, because the people were the show. See, I never told them that I was there not to entertain them, but for them to entertain me. That was the whole secret of my
You were
program.
more a facilitator.
Yeah, and so I wanted to be able to enjoy myself, laugh, and see people do things that might be a little more foolish than they do on a normal day. And so that's kind of where I got out of it. I really like that program. So in recent times, that's been the most fun. And then I think I'm kind of like a serial entrepreneur. So anytime I have an entrepreneurial experience, whether it's good or bad, I just kind of thrive on it.
Okay. You were a Rolling Stone.
A Rolling
moss.
Yeah,
No
no
moss.
moss. Yeah. Well, you got to keep moving, I guess they say.
And out of all these experiences, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Well, I tell you, one of the ones, don't take yourself too seriously. I keep that now as every time I start something. But I think the other thing is to do things in little bits. Don't take big chunks. That
Okay.
was, as a younger person, I would try to do everything and take chunks, big chunks, and try to make that work. And I find by being a very successful failure over the years, when you're an entrepreneur, Sarah, you fail a lot.
Self-employed, yeah.
Yeah, so you become good at failing. And so those are some of the things I learned, is just to take things one step at a time and stay focused on one thing and then move to the other. So, that's the learning thing, and that's just the hard, I think, and I call it the school of hard knocks, I guess.
Yes,
So,
it is.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
good.
you. You'll
Thanks.
come back?
Oh, sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, all
Oh,
right.
good.
Okay, thank you.
So today we're talking to DickMullen, and this is Spotlight Georgetown, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Thank you for joining us. Bye for now.